Hi everybody, and we're here with Eddy Azar from Bancor. Eddy is actually a growth hacker, right? But he's got a long history. He worked with Golan, and he was one of the first people who set up the Bitcoin meetups in Singapore, and what's the other one? In Bali. So Eddy's going to talk to us a little bit about Bancor. Now Eddy, as far as I know, Bancor's main concept is to have, or rather enable anybody to create their own coin. But how that works is still mind-boggling to me. I know you did explain it at the meetup we had 2 weeks ago in Bangkok, but it's still mind-boggling to me, and that's basically why you're over here today, to explain it to me again and to the people who are listening on MoneyZoo.
Awesome.
That's correct.
Yeah, so okay, essentially what Bancor is it's a protocol for creating a new type of smart token. Sorry, a new type of token called a smart token. Right, so for example, Bitcoin was the first type of cryptocurrency, then came Ether, another type of cryptocurrency which allowed for like ERC20 coins, and now there's smart tokens, which is a, once again, new type of currency, which also happens to be ERC20. It's already getting complicated. Essentially, the main difference between smart tokens, and everything else, is that smart tokens are money that can own money, and that can transact money. And so, when you're trying to trade with a normal ERC20 token, if you want to buy or sell it, you have to find a counterparty. Or you have to find a human or a bot. Yeah, so a counterparty. So another person, or perhaps another bot, that has this money and is willing to trade it with you for whatever you want to trade for at the price you want to trade it for. Whereas if you're trading with a smart token, you're trading with the smart token's contract, because the smart token's contract itself owns money. And so you don't have to find a counterparty. It's always liquid because you're trading with the smart token contract.
Okay, but I read on a blog you sent me sometime that anybody, including myself, can actually create my own like mini economy, if you like. So as a person, as a school, there was an example of a school.
Yeah.
There was an example of a district, maybe. I can understand maybe a district, but why would a school want to actually have their own?
Actually, I can give you an example. Without naming specific names, there's a project that we're talking to, and wants to go smart token routes. And what they want to do is they want to create tokens for universities. Mm-hmm. And this university would accept the token in exchange for tutoring, for textbooks, for tuition, etc. And they would issue the token for, once again, maybe for tutoring, for perhaps getting good grades or whatever. And it would essentially become, ideally, a token that is reflective of the university students and faculty members kind of trading with each other, and instead of having to trade in like USD, they have this new type of currency that is based on the university's own kind of supply and demand. The more people who go to the university, the more people who use that currency in the university, the higher the price of the university's coin would be. And so if you get to the university early thinking, hey, this economy is going to grow, you can essentially buy a bunch of university coins and have an investment which will grow as the coin's usage does.
But then what value does that coin have outside, and how is that value determined?
Right, so that value would be, so the way smart tokens work is that every smart token has an unlimited supply. The supply is, every time you buy a new smart token from the smart token contract, it's created from scratch. And every time you sell one, you sell it to the smart token contract and it's destroyed. And so every time somebody buys one in exchange for whatever the price happens to be at that moment, what they paid is put into the smart token's contract and raises the price of the next one a little bit. Right? So the more demand there is, the more people are buying it in order to get into the economy and be able to spend it and use it, the higher the price goes. And if ever they want to liquidate it, they just liquidate back for any other coin on the entire network.
Yeah, but if I'm a university student, I've got one of your smart tokens, one of the university smart tokens, and I go to Tesco down here,
yeah,
assuming they accept smart tokens. what value? Why would Tesco accept my smart token?
Well, they wouldn't have to. So as long as they're accepting something on the Bancor network, so it could be Ether, it could be in the future Bitcoin when we go across blockchain, or it could be any other ERC20 token on the entire network, your coin will be able to go and become that coin without any exchange fees.
Okay, so
it'll just transact itself, no exchange fees, and you'll have that coin instead.
Alright, so let me see if I'm understanding. So basically, any coin which exists today and any coin which might exist into the future could possibly plug into the Bancor ecosystem, so to speak,
Yeah.
so that those which are right now worthless tokens, or unspendable tokens is the correct word, could actually become spendable via Bancor.
Exactly. So the kind of summary of it is like, if you have a smart token, if it's on the Bancor network, then it can be traded for anything else on the Bancor network instantly with either no fees or next to no fees, depending on the creator of the token, if they want to create fees. But there's no exchange fees. The only default fee is gas,
which is Ether based.
Yeah, so essentially the cost of putting the transaction through the Ether blockchain.
Right, okay.
Right, so there's no actual cost of the transaction. So as long as you're on the network, every other coin on the network is liquid for your coin. You can instantly trade for that coin.
Okay, so really, Bancor's aim is to give kind of liquidity to all the current coins.
Exactly. The ultimate goal is to make it so that we can have, thousands, hundreds of thousands of currencies, based on everything from, huge projects like Golem or Bancor or Ether to stuff that's like, a tiny school or a Kickstarter sized project, and they're all liquid for each other, so that if you hold one, you're able to access all the others instantly.
That's really cool. I think I actually understood it finally.
Yeah.
Because one of the major problems, I'm sure everybody will agree, one of the major problems with all cryptocurrencies, except maybe Bitcoin and a couple of others, is where do you actually spend the coin? How do you use it? Other than maybe trading or in internal systems, there's really nowhere to spend it. So Bancor has the solution, or will have the solution.
You're working on this.
Yeah, to make everything which is out there now and in the future spendable, right?
Yeah. So like the one of the cool kind of ideal case scenarios in say the next 1 to 3 years is we'd work with a company like, for example, Token Card, and any token that is on the Bancor network you could put on your token card, and you could say, okay, when I spend, I want to spend in so BXL, if I'm making up a currency name, or I want to spend in my BXL tokens. But whatever currency they want, my BXL tokens will instantly exchange at the point of sale, get whatever tokens it is that the vendor's asking for, and then give them the tokens they're asked for, but I've spent the tokens I wanted to spend. And so you could have multiple coins on the network, and you could say, okay, whenever I spend, I want to spend, 10% Ether, 5% BNT, and whatever I want and it would all sell at once, and then give them whatever currency they want. And of course, if you choose multiple tokens, you'd be paying more transaction fees, but the point is you're paying in whatever currency you want, and they're getting whatever currency they want.
Right, okay. I read, again on the blog post you sent me, something about collateral. Was it collateral, the word you used? Where you got Bitcoin being, or Ethereum being, well, I forgot what the word was, but
CRR?
Yeah, something like that, I think it was.
Constant reserve ratio.
Yeah, the reserve, that's
yeah.
it. Well, can you explain that? Because that's
Okay,
something else I...
okay, yeah, this is, okay. So essentially, the reserves that is what you call the money that the smart token holds. Or so like I said,
The money.
Yeah, so smart tokens are money that can own money. So the money that is owned is called the reserve.
Okay.
And so there's two types of reserve. There's reserves where the net worth of the reserve is the worth of the token. And so we call that a CRR of 100%. So if you add the value of all the tokens that smart token holds, that will equal the value of all the smart tokens in existence. Right? The market cap of, so let's say there's 100 Ether in the reserves, and there's 100 tokens.
Whose reserves?
The smart tokens reserves. Let's call
The
it
smart token owned by the individual.
No, owned by itself.
Okay.
Yeah, so nobody owns those reserves. No human can access them.
Okay.
They're owned by the smart contracts.
Okay.
And so let's say you had, a token called STX.
Mm-hmm.
And STX had 100 STX in existence, owned by various people. and STX had 100 Ether in reserve,
Okay.
then the net worth of all those STX added together would be 100 Ether, and therefore the net worth of each one, because it's 100 and 100, would be 1 Ether. Right, so that would be 100% CRR. Right, so that's where the worth of the market cap of the token is equal to the market cap of everything it holds.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
And then there's a CRR like, for example, what BNT has, which is less than 100%. And that's for something like, that's for most smart tokens. And so the way that works is you might have a CRR of 10%, like Bancor does. And so Bancor has 10% of its net worth is Ether. And so the net worth of all the smart tokens in existence are worth the 100% of that 10%, or so 10 times that.
Right.
And so one thing to keep in mind is that the value doesn't come from the reserves. The reserves serve more as a I forget what's the word, the market depth in an exchange, right? It's available to trade, and the worth comes from the use case of the token.
Alright. But this sounds very technical. So
Yeah.
so as an end user, people who are actually inside using Bancor don't really need it.
Yeah, it's kind of like you can use the internet without knowing HTML.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if you're creating a smart token, you should know this.
Yeah.
Although we are creating it so that it's very kind of walkthrough-esque. Something that somebody who doesn't really understand crypto can still create the same way WordPress lets you create a website without really understanding website
Right.
tech. But yeah, it's not something the average user needs to know.
Okay. That's
But it is like if you want to get into it, it's fascinating because it's a way of creating tokens that are both tradable from themselves, they trade themselves, and whose value can be either based on everything they hold and therefore become something like an ETF, an investment that holds multiple stuff, or it can be its own thing and the stuff it holds is just there for liquidity purposes.
Right. So I was going to ask you the next question about the ETFs, which interested me last time when you spoke. So you said that everybody can have an ETF, and basically an ETF, what it was saying is that you can have a portfolio of coins and put it into a Bancor ETF, is it called? What's it called?
Just we call it a token basket.
A token basket, and it trades. And I was reading something about a bot arbitrage. That I discovered today, and that's quite interesting as well, because if I understood it correctly, what does it do? It just checks the price differences on a daily basis and
a momentary basis.
And then what does it do?
So
maybe you can explain how the actual ETF works.
So arbitrage trading is like, let's say that Ether on one exchange is worth X amount of money, and Ether on another exchange is worth X amount of money plus $10.
Right.
Then you buy it from the one that's worth cheaper and sell it to the one that's worth more, and thereby make a profit. And so there's an incentive. That's called arbitrage trading.
Yeah.
So people make bots to do this for them. Right? So the bots will check multiple exchanges and go, okay, if the price is this much different, then do the trade. Right? So if you have a token basket, and the price of the token within your token basket, say it's Ether for example, differentiates significantly enough from the price in anywhere else, another token basket or an exchange or whatever, then there will be an incentive for an arbitrage bot to trade the difference.
Okay.
And so the arbitrage bots will trade the difference until the prices are now equal and there's no more incentive to trade.
Okay.
And so what happens there is, let's say you create it with you have 5 tokens in there. You have BNT, GNT, Ether, and Aragon and Mysterium, whatever, right? And you set Ether at 20%.
Okay.
Then Ether will always stay at 20% of the net value, because as the value of it changes on the outside world, they'll become an arbitrage opportunity. It'll become lower or higher, it'll be worth to buy or sell.
Yeah.
And people will do so until it's equal again, and it will be once again at 20% of the net value.
Okay.
So the cool thing about that is, if you create a token basket, whatever percentage you say you want to invest in X currency, it'll always be that percent. So you're like, I want to have 20% of my investment to be always in Ether. It always will be, even as the Ether price rises and falls.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
The cool thing about token baskets is instead of choosing how much you want to invest in Ether, you choose how much of your investment you want to be in Ether.
Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. And I see the power in this. And you mentioned last time as well, if I'm the owner or creator of an ETF or smart basket, is it?
Token basket.
Token basket. I have to get used to all these names.
Yeah.
People who are interested in trading can actually, how was it, fund or trade off my back kind of thing?
Yeah. So there's two things about this. So one is that if you create a token basket, the token basket is a currency.
Yeah.
Right. So let's call the token basket, TBX as the name of the token basket, and it holds whatever currencies you want. People can buy TBX.
Mm-hmm.
Every time they do so, they've created new TBX coins, and they have the same distribution of tokens as you do. And they buy it by contributing one of the coins it holds.
Okay.
Right? And you can create, so if there's a famous investor, he can create, a TBX token, and people can just follow him by buying his tokens. And he can build in a fee. So you can make it so that every time somebody buys or sells a token, so let's say 0.1% of that money stays in the token, right? It's a fee that goes into the reserves. And that will slowly grow the worth of the reserves with every trade, thereby growing the value of every TBX token in existence every time somebody trades through it. And seeing as he would be, the first person to hold them, every time somebody buys or sells his token, he would get an increase in price, as would everyone else who holds the token.
Right, but my issue with this, it's not an issue, it's a query more than anything, is the financial legal status, because if people are placing their bets, for lack of a better word, placing their bets onto what I am trading, then in a way I am triggering a trade on their behalf. And in the financial world, which unfortunately cryptocurrency is now heading towards, that could be an issue. But I guess that's something every person who's open to this will have to check on their own, depending on their own jurisdiction, etc.
Yeah, so that's something where it's like saying the technology enables these things to happen.
Yeah.
And whether or not you're able to have access to them is another question.
Exactly.
And that's dependent on your the laws governing your life.
Yeah, correct.
So I can't really comment on that.
No, because I do receive quite a lot. I had one yesterday, in fact, asking me to. He wanted to send me money so that I can trade for him, and I'd refuse point blank, and I've refused quite a lot because there's a very fine line about what the trader can and cannot do, and one of the things I know I cannot do is accept people's money.
Right.
So I can only trade on my behalf, and this thing which Bancor is now going to allow, if it is legally possible for us to do it, would be fantastic, because it's a new avenue of business for me. But that's something we'd have to check out.
Yeah, and I don't know the legalities and I can't comment on them.
No.
But one interesting thing to note is that when you are putting your money into this token basket, the guy who created the token basket does not have access to your money. It's not like he could take the funds and run. It's not like he's choosing where he is choosing where they're invested, but he can't actually touch your money.
Yeah. And me, I'm not receiving the money.
Exactly.
Right.
So even though he's creating the token basket, the money's not his to access, and that takes away both a large amount of risk as well as potentially, and I don't know for sure, but potentially some legal problems.
Okay. All right. Very interesting. All right. I don't think there's anything else. I mean, there are the ETFs. There was quite a lot of detail. I really don't. I mean, there's so much which Bancor has to offer in the future. Is it on IPO, pre-IPO? ICO, I mean?
Yeah, so we had our token generation event in July, I believe. July 12th or 15th, I can't remember exactly what date. And then they're live now. And the cool thing is
the ICO is live?
The ICO is not live, the ICO is done, but the tokens are live.
Right, okay.
And just like any other smart token, you can buy and sell them, and by doing so create new ones. So in a weird way, it's almost like an ongoing token generation event. It never actually ends, because if you want to get in at the current price, you just buy a new token from the token changer.
So, and they're on the exchanges?
Yeah, they're on a bunch of exchanges, I don't know which ones. But the thing is, you don't have to buy from the exchanges, because BNT is a smart token. So if you go to bancor.network/BNT, you can buy it from the smart token contract, and there's no fees, and you're buying at whatever the current, market price is.
Right.
Instead of having to, have a bid-ask spread or having to, pay something higher for whatever reason, you're buying at exactly what the market deems it to be worth.
Alright, and if somebody goes to buy it now, they can start creating these ETFs and stuff immediately, or
Not yet.
Not yet.
So that code is still being made.
Alright.
and you can go to our GitHub and you can see like where the code is at and all the progress of it. But it's not something that would be easily done yet. We're working on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And you have a blog which people can go to?
Yeah. So you mean the Bancor blog?
Well, or your own, wherever.
My personal blog.
Somewhere to send them.
Yes, definitely the Bancor blog, my personal blog. I don't even care about that. Yeah, so the Bancor blog is, I believe, blog.bancor.network.
Okay, so we'll have that down
there.
just somewhere here.
Yeah, actually, so one thing worth mentioning is if any of you guys have like a cool smart token concept or you have questions, 1 second, you can email me and it's eddy@bancor.network and I'll listen to your idea or answer your questions or
Cool.
whatever happens.
Okay, so contact him. Like I've been hounding him all week. So emails down here, and unless you've got anything else for now,
that's
I
cool.
think that's it. But if anybody has any more questions, as he said, you can email him personally, or he's just joined the MoneyZoo group as well. So maybe just send him a message there.
You can @message me.
Yeah, or @message him. Okay, so hopefully we've all got a better idea of Bancor and how it works.
And if you don't and you have questions,
We'll just contact him. Okay? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks, Eddy.